What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Spill the Tequila. And man, have you all joined for a heck of an episode today. We got a lot to get into after taking last week off because of me and Comic-Con scheduling. All this, we couldn't make it work overall. So my apologies to all of you. This is not on Winston. It's my scheduling issues. I'm dumb sometimes, but we are back here to have some fun conversations. I am John Rocha, joined as always by the king of swag himself, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
You already know. I'm good. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm doing all right now. And my girl Cam is coming back today. I'm excited. The Sparks are taking on the Aces, so I get to watch last year's #2 draft pick try and get that dub.
Yeah. And season debut, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been patiently waiting. I've also been sadly just crying in my pillow very softly every time a new thing comes out about Luka and his workout regimen and how he's hitting half-court shots for fun. Like, it's I see somebody in the chat. Mike Joyce just asked me how my dad is. Thank you for asking. As of right now, he seems to be doing fine. We have our own level of my sister and I of needing to talk to him about his 3 cigars a day habit that he's picked up in the last year or two.
Okay.
Didn't know he was smoking that many cigars, but I say all that to say, I found out while I was down there, I think I said this the last time we did Spill the Tequila, that he's apparently like golf and poker buddies with the goddamn Nico Harrison. So like, I've never seeing this article come out for Men's Health. I'm like, I need you to turn in your badge. Like, turn in your gun and your badge right now. You're off the force. All right, you're done, bro. Like, oh God,
with the way he looks. Are you upset with the way he's in shape? I mean,
I'm not upset with him being healthy and becoming a killer. I'm pissed off because it furthers my whole argument of because one of the arguments that was made about like, well, we had to do because no matter what we said to him, he wouldn't get into shape. And I was like, okay, so then there's one of two things going on here. Either you really aren't good enough at what you need to do or don't have the right people around to will him one way or the other, or because you gave up on him and treated him the way you did, you actually woke a giant and now he's going to embarrass you. Like, that is what I'm reading off of this, to be honest with you. I feel like Luka is about to just make the league his bitch, like without effort at this point, because he put all the effort in this summer. So
let's take a look at this.
Don't rub it in.
Wow. Look at those. Look, there's no stomach. I wish I looked like this. I've lost 40 pounds. I can't look like this. He looks fantastic. Look at him.
Man.
You see his balls there. Look at the man's got it going on here. Let's take a look at that shots. Where is it? There he is doing the little steps. Come on, Winston.
Yep. I mean, this is look, there is a point at which, yes, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. But I'm saying the best motivation they could do for Luka was to just say, we wash ourselves of you. And literally what they did, because it's funny, the thing that Nico kept quoting is like, I used to work with Kobe. He's no Kobe. No. This is a different version of Kobe. You have to understand Luka has always, and the fact that Nico has worked with him, he should have known this. Luka has always functioned off of the idea of getting petty revenge. You know why you need proof of that? Look at the photo of him next to Devin Booker after Devin Booker talked that shit, and then he went in Game 7, put up like 40 on him, and was winning in Game 7. It was like, you mad? Like, he thrives off petty. This is 1,000%. My ex broke up with me. I'm gonna show this motherfucker who's boss. That's what this is, and it's going to be horrible for me. I also think it's because the Lakers have made it clear to him. Remember, there was that off-season meeting that was reported on a couple of weeks ago. Like, they are building the team around him, and I think that's was made clear to him earlier in the summer. Like, look, we know LeBron's still on the team, but you're our guy. We're going to go forward with you. So, but we want you to convey that leadership quality. What better way to with you? So I think that's what you see there. I think that's what you see there with what he's doing. So I love it. I think it's great. Well, real quick, somebody said I need to see Nico's reaction to this article. I will show you. This is his reaction right here.
Okay. Just that look. Just that.
Like that's 1,000% right there. That is 1,000% how he feels about this.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because it really just reads like he just doesn't know what he's doing. And it's funny. Like I said, I got in a big argument, not with Nico directly, but with his homeboys, who are also my dad's friend. And they give me all these reasons why is this, that, and the other. And there were just so many things they left out. I don't know if that's because they're not somebody working in the field and they're just going by what their friend is telling them, because they clearly don't know a lot about sports, in my opinion, based off of some of the stuff they said, including like, yo, Anthony Davis played just as many games. He wasn't as hurt as you thought. How are you going to call him injury prone? We had an injury on one thing, but then he had an injury on another. One of those dudes is a doctor, and I was like, are you serious right now? Like, I was like, you do know that there was a correlation that or at least a causation, but there's a correlation that's been coming up between people with calf injuries, and if they try and play through them instead of resting them, they tear their Achilles. It's been going on for a while, but we noticed it at first with Kobe, who had that calf injury. Yeah, kept playing, eventually tore his Achilles, and then we kept watching it. We watched it with Kevin Durant. We watched it with Klay Thompson. This postseason, we just watched it in Dame. We watched it in Tyrese Halliburton in the finals. We watched it in Tatum. Tatum went down and is not going to be out. We watched it happen in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers. He had that little soft calf injury, and then at 4 plays in, all of a sudden there goes his Achilles. So I was like, y'all dumb, bro. Like, I'm not going to be disrespectful because I'm in my dad's house. I'm not going to get smacked in the mouth at 37 years old talking about who you talking to like that. But I am also not going to let them get away with this.
Yeah. You're calling them out. I saw the pictures, and I buy this transformation much more than I buy Sacha Baron Cohen's transformation. Hello, HGH. But I totally respect what Luka is doing. Yeah, hey, come on. You don't look like that at 53 years old without going to that Marvel gym of HGH.
Well, but it doesn't have to be HGH. It could just be the Marvel gym of here's $1 billion to get you in the shape we want you in. That's the thing. When they are paying you millions and they're paying all of the best people in the world, I can kind of believe it, though. Because like the workouts you're doing and like the workouts Christian is doing, and I know you guys are like around that same age as Sacha Baron Cohen, that you're doing it off of your budget to the best of your ability. So you may have a trainer and you may have a nutritionist, but they're not the Disney, I get paid $10 million on retainer nutritionist. I get paid $10 million on retainer trainer. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying you can only eat so much chicken and broccoli and look like that.
You're right. You can't only eat so much chicken and broccoli, and he clearly ate a lot of it.
Or not enough of it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Anyway. But yeah, we are going to be getting into some subjects here today, some interesting rough and ready subjects, some rumble and tumble subjects for sure. And so if you want us to want us to hear your thoughts or play your thoughts here on the show, you got to send in your Streamlabs super chats as we go along. The Streamlabs address is right above Winston's head there. It's also pinned in the description of the video and in the chat. So send in your love as we go along. Send in your support here on the show. And we already got almost 200 of you joining us live. Thank you so much. Please make sure you hit a like on the video. And make sure you leave comments in the chat there. And if you're watching later, leave the comments on the stuff we're talking about. But Winston, let's get into it because we have a limited amount of time today. We got to talk about this story. This broke a few days ago, but we're just getting around to it to talk about it together. Kevin Feige, Marvel's bigwig there at a recent roundtable event, discussed a lot of things around the Marvel Cinematic Universe. None of them, according to Kevin Feige, have anything to do with any decisions anybody has made at the top. In terms of quality, in terms of output, and none of it. It's all because they have overwhelmed the audience. And one of the most recent comments, or one of the comments that he made here that has got people really angry over the last few days recently, is talking about Brave New World. And he said the reason that Brave New World struggled was not because it had a bad script, not because it wasn't that well directed, not because they did multiple reshoots and changed a lot of things around with the leader and with Red Hulk. No, it was because it was the first Captain America film without Chris Evans. That's exactly what he said to a room full of journalists about the failure of or the low box office of Captain America: Brave New World. Man, I'll tell you this, Winston. This infuriated me on so many levels. Own up to your shit. You're a grown-ass man. Own up to your shit. And if you're going to be out here talking to me about diversity And then you're going to jump into the fray by delivering a line like this and essentially saying, well, it was the first one without our big white guy, so we went with a black guy, and that's why they didn't do it. To me, the optics of it, the ignorance of it is just mind-blowing, and this can't feel good. Anthony Mackie is still shooting scenes right now. What are your thoughts on this and the controversy around it, Winston?
I haven't really ever been mad at Feige. I'm like genuinely mad about this because that is a bold-faced lie.
Mm-hmm.
You could have easily just said, I feel like we missed the mark. If you had said, I think not having Chris around probably didn't help, but I'm not putting it on that. I mean, we did have a lot of changes. The strike happened. We all of that stuff. Like let's go through it because you broke a lot of it down.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think the plot of the movie was that good. If we're just being honest, it felt very. We have to find a way to start this conversation of how the world is a brave new world, how it's like changing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. You decided when a little bit of controversy started to dust up about an Israeli superhero being in the movie,
right?
Instead of going full tilt with the superhero or pulling her out entirely and deciding we're not going to do, you kind of went half and half.
Yes.
And still sort of did it. So you played it super safe. And that's the whole thing. It's like, I'm not encouraging people to go be grifters or nothing else like that. But there is something to be said about the people that have a tendency to do the best in general are going to piss some people off.
Yes.
So whether you're on the right side of history or the wrong side of history, the people that end up finding that audience, they just go full tilt. They don't half-ass one way or the other. Right. You tend to make more enemies when you half-ass shit. You told us way too much about Red Hulk before it even happened. Even if we could have guessed it was coming, by the nature of deciding to show us all the Red Hulk stuff and know the whole movie it was coming, you ruined what could have been a kind of an interesting surprise that this was going on the whole time. And then wanted to have like little bits like, you don't know what I've been doing to him. He's slowly been poisoned. It's like, well, yeah, we know. We've seen the trailers. We saw the movie poster. Of course he's the Red Hulk. Like, it's one of those things that, look, what did you think that was a surprise? So why would you write it as such? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
why not do it in a way where it's like, you know what? Ross did it to himself. He's tired of chasing after the Hulk. So he did it, which happens in a number of iterations where he decides he wants to do it to himself. Put all of that with the clearly there was some other plot that was there that you kind of, again, because of the rewrites kind of shifted. Love Danny Ramirez as an actor. Love the fact that he over here with Jessica Alba. Good for you, brother, man. Like, damn.
Take your babysitter, I guess. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, bro, she bad than a mug, and she can have whoever she wants. And if she wants her some Falcon, she can have some Falcon.
That's true. She put some wings on that. Yeah, that's for sure.
But I say all that to say I didn't like how the character has gone. I actually enjoyed him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I did not like him in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think Anthony Mackie got to star in his own movie. Yeah. We spent more time worried about Red Hulk than we did about what Captain America thinks and feels and things that are going on. Yeah. So, like, there are a bunch of reasons why this movie did not go over well and wasn't good. And it had nothing to do with Anthony Mackie. And like, again, if you want to say the lack of Chris didn't help, I'll agree with you just because Chris's box office and that the character's been around for a while. But that is not the reason this movie failed. Yeah. That is so grossly offensive, in my opinion.
I agree. And I agree. Look, and normally I don't, normally I call stuff out and whatever, but like there is calling out and then there's calling out and pissing me off. And I agree. Same thing. To me, I'm with you, Winston. I was mad when I saw this because it's such a tossed off comment. And he probably didn't think it was anything to say it this way. And he thought he was trying to probably speak to what the fans thought. Well, I'm speaking for the fans. We didn't get Chris Evans back, and clearly he's a big part of Captain America. People caught up. It's a way of skirting the responsibility that you were behind this movie and all the things and all the decisions that were made, all the story changes. You were behind it. It isn't just Malcolm Spellman. It's you were behind it as well, making these changes. And I agree with you 100%. The Red Hulk situation, they changed the movie, so it was about Red Hulk with Captain America happened to be in it. He happened to be in it, and that's the thing when you look at it. It wasn't about his journey. It wasn't about they really like being a black superhero, being Captain America all of that is teased in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, but they don't really pursue as much of as you would like to have it pursued in the movie. And it's a mishmash. And that has nothing to do with Anthony Mackie. He's just the actor. He didn't write the script. He didn't direct the movie. He didn't make the casting decisions. He didn't make all these changes to the story. And I will say this, it's also another way for Kevin Feige to cover their own stupid decisions to roll out Anthony Mackie as Captain America in a TV series, a Disney Plus TV series with way less eyes on that than if they'd done it theatrically. And I get it, COVID and all of that. I totally understand. They needed to do something. They needed to put content out there. That's fine. But don't make him Captain America by the end of the movie. Have it be a thing that's a journey. And then when he comes into the movie, the end of the series, maybe comes into the movie, or don't even do the series, which you had to truncate anyway. So there was a lot of things where Anthony Mackie was snake bit through the entire rollout of this thing from Endgame on that did him no favors. So for you as the big wig, the top guy at Marvel, to be like, well, we didn't have Chris Evans in it, that's why it didn't do well, is such a slap in the face to a man who's been working hard to dealing with the errors, dealing with the unforeseen circumstances, dealing with all the bullshit, just to be able to deliver a good performance as Captain America, as as a Falcon. So yeah, it's tough.
And I think the thing about it that I am not giving him a pass on this, but if I had to guess as to part of what is going on as well, I got to guess that because you're in the middle of a movie live in theaters, you don't want to necessarily, like, if the argument he was attempting to make is, part of the problem is that there are a lot of like emboldened racists out there right now, and they're not going to accept a black Captain America. If that is what you're attempting to say,
right?
It sounds like then you're too scared to actually say that because you have a movie out right now, you don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Right.
You still want those racists to go see Fantastic Four. So like that's if that is what the reasoning is for that one way or the other. But
yeah,
I said this. It's funny we're talking about Nico. I said this about Nico because even if, let's say for a second that Nico didn't understand how much the city loved Luka.
Yeah.
Bedside manner and how you present yourself and your media training and how you word things, like the specific words you use, especially in this soundbite social media era, is 1,000% a part of your job when you are a public facing figure in charge of something.
Yeah.
Period. So deciding to say this the way that you did, it may have been off the cuff and like, oh, please don't take it straight at face value, blah, 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 blah. But unfortunately, that's your job. And you've been doing this for decades now. So you should know that your words have weight, period.
I mean, he had a lot of missteps in these interviews. I mean, him saying the actor that played Kang, he wouldn't name Jonathan Majors by name in the response. And to me, I'm like, well, that's clearly you being coached by PR and legal. So you're clearly aware that you have to present things in a certain way. There's a better answer where you say, well, there were a lot of missteps in getting that movie out, the timing. And we had a better film when we first started out, but COVID, all these stops and restarts, the reshoots, unfortunately, we didn't hit the mark on that one. And that's got nothing to do with the incredible actors that were in the movie. They delivered wonderful performances. We just didn't get it right. And so we'll be thinking about that going forward with Captain America. There you go. You don't make any allusions to the fact that, it didn't have Steve Rogers in it. You're making it clear that there were some mistakes made and you're going to learn from the mistakes and you're going to do better next time. Why isn't that a thing? So to me, it's just frustrating to have the big wig of Marvel just toss off a comment like this without thinking about the implications of it and how it can affect one of your current actors who is going to be leading the Avengers in Doomsday. So, I mean, that to me is just shocking on so many levels,
Yeah. I mean, just from the standpoint of like, I think the part that sucks and why I just stand by the fact that, Anthony Mackie and, Sam Wilson just deserve more is that there are so many good stories that really dive into what it means for Sam to take the mantle. And in comics for years now, it has been one of those things where even when Steve decides he wants to get back into the fray, because originally he let it go because he had lost the super soldier serum, so he aged out. And then they found a way to get it back to him. So he did, but he did not take away the Captain America mantle the same way that Spider-Man is both Miles Morales and Peter Parker. You can have both. It doesn't matter. It genuinely doesn't matter. They didn't dive into those.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead,
Go ahead. Fix up. Good.
No. Instead they did this half-ass shit. Because even if you like, what you could have focused on even more, you could have the storyline you were doing again with Isaiah Bradley,
was
so strong.
Yeah,
and you could have dove into this idea of like, Jesus, America refuses to accept like a black hero like this. Like, what is going on? And you could have then had them have to deal with that whole scenario. Nobody's saying you have to go like, wear your heart on your sleeve type shit of like, he's a blackie, I refuse, don't save me. But like, you don't have to do that. But I'm saying there is something to be said about not shying away from the fact that, yes, he looks different. And if some people are handling that differently, and you started to address that a little bit in Falcon and Winter Soldier, the fact that he saved the world from Thanos and they won't give my man a bank loan. Like, he's homies. Like, even though Stark is dead, he's still homies with all the people with the money. You can't say that I'm not good for it. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
That diving into more of that, and it doesn't have to be the central point, but it's enough to let Sam kind of move from would have been infinitely more interesting than this shit that we got, and that was again kind of half-assed and more of a Red Hulk movie than it was a Captain America movie.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating to me when you look at it, because if you break it all down, Disney should not and Marvel should not tackle these subjects if they're not going to really tackle them. Don't talk about racism. Don't talk about sexism. Don't talk about any socio-political shit except for broad generalizations, because you clearly aren't willing to actually investigate the issue. Look at Andor, second season of Andor. So much was explored there about colonization, about empires, about countries that are essentially the planets that are being taken over and forced to and indoctrinated to believe a certain thing about themselves or about how the way the world works. That was really brave storytelling that dove into the issue in a way that 2025 audiences who are much more politically aware than maybe at any point in our country's history about issues and socio-political issues, whether they think they're valid or not, they're much more educated about this stuff. So you've got to present material that is going to be at that level. And if you're not going to present it, don't even fucking do it. No one needs the lifetime version of racism. No one fucking needs a lifetime version of sexism. No one does. And especially when you've got a massive platform like Marvel, to mess this up consistently is goddamn frustrating. And it just seems to involve a majority of the time around the Anthony Mackie being a black Captain America situation. It happened in Winter Soldier. It happened in this movie. And so it's just frustrating to see that kind of stuff because it's unnecessary. And if they just done a better job rolling out Sam as Captain America and leaned into the things that they touched on Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think we would have had much more respect for the movie. It could have stood artistically for something like Thunderbolts has, like Superman has, like Fantastic Four. Like there's an artistic nature to some of that stuff, what they're exploring that means more. And so, yeah, I just think this is where they messed up. Yeah,
I completely. And like you just, I guess that's the thing. Can you imagine like you had a scenario where like, okay, he's fully taken on the mantle now, but now whoever his handler is through the government is like, you ain't no Cap. Like, he's not a good old boy. It's all subtle. It's all just dog whistle shit and whatever.
Yeah.
And then you don't ever need to, maybe you do eventually address it in not so many words, but then something happens where Sam proves all of a sudden, and then this dude has to back down. I've seen that happen in like hour-long, dramas like SWAT. There was an episode of SWAT where it's like, how are you a sergeant? And then all of a sudden he got saved. He's like, I guess you're not so bad. And it's like, see, that's your problem, is that you think it's I'm one of the good ones instead of no, I'm a person and I do my job, and you're caught in this bullshit. Even that would have been something infinitely more interesting than I was kind of wronged, and so I'm screw you, Ross. I'm just gonna you kind of ruined me. So now I'm the Kermit leader. Call me Patrick Mahomes. Like, just fuck. Like, I just. It's just very frustrating because whether that was intended or not, what that kind of reads is this idea of, like you were saying earlier, how are you going to, in the same breath, champion diversity?
Yes.
Then when you get an opportunity to defend diversity, you kind of throw it under the bus.
Yeah. It's just mind-blowing to me. And it speaks to the fact that this is corporate culture. They're afraid of everything unless it's being accepted, right? These same corporations who were putting black squares on their social media 4 or 5 years ago to support BLM now are trying to remove people of color and women and black people from being the leads in their stuff. They're canceling their shows all over the place now. They're shutting down all the diversity offices. The same corporations that were doing that shit. Everyone thought, wow, we've turned a page. They're really standing up. No, they thought this is the way the wind was blowing. They need to make their money. So they're going to pretend to care about diversity and pretend to care about these issues. And the second the wind blows the other way, oh boy, no, it's okay. We're gonna cast an old white man who's Harrison Ford, who everybody loves. We're gonna put him and make him the lead of the Captain America movie that's supposed to be about Black Captain America. Like, that is not an accident. William Hurt's death almost opened the door for them to change this film completely around and be like, no, let's focus on Harrison Ford. He's going to sell tickets because the anti-woke people and the people that hate black people in the leads of things are going to now maybe see the movie, and they weren't going to when it was just going to be Black Captain America. And look, you can blame the anti-woke YouTubers all you want, the racist YouTubers, for making all their money pushing that shit. That's fine. The fact that they listen, that's the problem. That these people are listening to this crap, that's the problem.
Yeah, I just it's just one of those things that it's like,
yeah.
I think the funny thing, people love, like, on on that kind of grift side of shit, to be like, go won't go broke, and it's been proven time and again that that's a nonsensical statement, because quote unquote Superman is woke and it just crossed 500. You know what I'm saying? Like there's plenty of examples where the quote unquote go woke go broke is trash. What people want is authenticity. So again, if you're gonna go for it, then go for it. I think that is ultimately the problem, is that I think because this was the last part of the Chapek kind of we overdid it regime. Where he's not going to throw Chapek under the bus. That's not going to go over well. But I think that is a situation of, just, you were putting out bad product. And this was the last of the bad product here. And you tried to salvage it and you kind of couldn't. Yeah. Because even if Thunderbolts didn't take off, everyone pretty universally agrees that it's a very good movie, and that the reason that it just didn't hit, I would argue, is just you can go with a less known group of characters, like a Guardians, when you're in the middle of, dude, we just put out Winter Soldier, we just put out Iron Man 3, which crossed $1 billion, we just put out like all this stuff, and this thing is rolling. The MCU was not rolling right now. So it was kind of weird to try and be like, it's just Marvel, trust us, because people don't trust Marvel right now. So like that is why Thunderbolts didn't do well. And I would argue, when we come back to this later, like a year from now, and Thunderbolts I think drops on digital pretty soon here. The number of people that are probably going to be all over Twitter, whatnot, shit, why don't I see this Thunderbolts shit? That was good as hell.
No, you're 100% right. It happens every time a Marvel. Even the Captain America Brave New World, I think, was #1 for the week it dropped in terms of viewership.
It was #1 the week that it dropped in theaters too, but all it took was people to go, this isn't very good, to stop going. I just still can't get over people trying to be like, you a coon for saying that it's bad. No, I am a person who can have very clear, objective conversations about how it wasn't a good movie.
That's the thing. If it's a good movie, everything else is irrelevant. And even if it doesn't do great at the box office, it'll have a kind of following and a support from people that will encourage people to find it again down the road when it goes on digital or whatever. So you got to focus on the quality. I think too much Kevin was making excuses all through this interview tour that he did here before Fantastic Four came out. All kinds of excuses for Marvel, but none of them took responsibility. And it's just so frustrating to see that, because it sets a bad example to other creators, to other people who are executive producers of a franchise or a brand, to just be like, no, it wasn't us. It was, we didn't put the right people in it, and we should have done this, we should have done that. Instead of saying like, no, man, we made some bad mistakes here. We made some missteps. We need to look at ourselves a little bit harder and do better next time to satisfy the fans. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, we'll see what happens with this going forward. And if they don't get Endgame, they don't get Doomsday right, oh man, there's going to be some trouble, bro. It's going to be
I think they'll be okay. I'm genuinely not worried, just from the standpoint of I am very acutely aware of Brave New World was the last of what was kind of going on. You could also make the argument with Ironheart, which I still thought personally I liked Ironheart. I just didn't like the straight up ending. I think that they felt on too much of a cliffhanger for something that has already been kind of touted as not getting a second season. So in what world, especially if you were, even though you finished in 23, like right before the strikes, you had time to do a little bit of reshoots. Why not just tweak it just a little bit so it's a little more closed story? You know what I mean? That's my only beef with it. But again, we've been dealing with misfire after misfire after misfire. Like, it wasn't just this. It was Quantumania. It was oh my God, the Marvels,
Love and Thunder,
the Marvels, Love and Thunder. Like, it would misfire after misfire after misfire. You know what I mean? So like, you had some stuff that worked, but most of the stuff that worked was tied to something that was kind of either a throwback or a wrap up. So like you're talking, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's a throwback / wrap up. Guardians 3, that's a wrap up. Spider-Man, that's a wrap up / throwback. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
The only OG thing that kind of hit and people universally pretty much love is what? Shang-Chi. Outside of now Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, but I guess again Thunderbolts didn't really put money in. So, and
Shang-Chi can't even get a sequel. That thing was so good.
It was. I think the weirder part is to not have Shang-Chi just show up somewhere.
That's fair. Yeah.
Though just because of, like, if you think timeline of trying to get stuff working, don't force feed another movie in there just to do it. But to not include Liu somehow, some way, I think is a little weird. But we do know, I mean, I don't know if people are aware that he did tear his ACL, I think ACL and MCL, maybe just the ACL, and was out for months, had to have surgery and all that kind of stuff. So it also was probably hard if they did want to include him in something else. They're like, he can't move. Don't even ask. Don't ask right now.
Put him in the 10 rings wheelchair. Maybe, I don't know.
Jesus.
Wrap the rings around him.
Oh my Lord.
Someone brought up also that Feige's his sub.
It was a torn Achilles?
It was torn Achilles.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
His comments, he said his woke comments were the biggest cop out. He praised Iman Vellani, but everyone likes her. Right? Exactly. He said, he also said the DEI. This is the thing that I was saying, like, before, like, hey, why does Marvel do this? Why are they playing it safe? But it's clearly because Feige wants to play it safe. It is clear because he wants to play it safe. The DEI comments, him saying that he's been a champion of DEI, that Marvel, you could look out the window and Marvel was reflecting the people you saw out there. It was like the biggest criticism of Marvel up until Black Panther was how undiverse Marvel was with its heroes, with its casting, with its storylines. It was very undiverse. And go back and watch Iron Man 2. See how many sexist comments Tony Stark and Happy make about Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow and Natasha in the film. Like, there was a lot of it was very unwoke. It was very un-DEI. And it wasn't until Black Panther that things changed. So for him to say, like, well, we've been DEI from the beginning is absolute hogwash, utter hogwash.
Yeah. And I was corrected. It was indeed a torn Achilles. He went dressed as Aaron Rodgers with crutches and a Jets shirt on for Halloween that year because he was like, I know how it feels.
Exactly.
That's why Shang-Chi hasn't been around. You can't, obviously he has to recover from that. That would have, thank God they weren't in production, because that would, think about how much money that would have cost to put the whole thing on hold. You know what I mean?
Here we go. Calling a woman sexy is sexist. Yep, didn't even say that. That's not what they say in the movie. They say something like she's a piece of meat and they want to make eat her.
Which movie? Maybe I was missing it because I was reading about the Achilles. Which one?
Iron Man 2. In Iron Man 2, what they say about Natasha, the comments that they make about Natasha. It's you can see the comments that they make. So
I'll put it this way: we have evolved.
Yes.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with calling somebody attractive. I think the whole point of Tony's character arc is that he has evolved. And I think I said this about Fantastic Four. I don't think you needed to say in all of the interviews, you didn't need to say, Johnny isn't a womanizer anymore. He's more than that. And I was like, well, you're not going to see none of that in here. And I was like, well,
yeah,
you could have just not brought that up, because Johnny is still Johnny in the movie, and I love that about him, but he's also all evolved. You know what I'm saying? Like he's out here in these streets being like, yeah, I'm trying to get play wherever I can get play, but also, girl, are you all right? Like he's got like plenty of that in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So
let me help Captain Wingnut. I'm sorry, Captain Wingsuit. Let me help him out. Hold on a second. Let's take a look. Here it is. The male gaze full effect, right? Here it is. They're looking at Natasha, right? They're doing this kind of thing. What's your name, lady? If it pleases the court, which it does. And she is potentially a very expensive sexual harassment lawsuit. And then he said, I want one. Talking about Natasha, Tony Stark saying to Pepper Potts, I want one. And we know what that meant. It wasn't, I want an assistant. I want someone to take notes for me. It's, I want one, which means a young woman that he can sexually harass, for God's sakes. And so you see here in the moments that they have the back and forth. And so it's all through Iron Man 2. Go back and rewatch it and you'll see the comment. So
it is, I would say that it's, again,
yeah,
we were in the middle of Tony's evolution. I am not defending it in terms of like, if you remade the movies today that you do it, but I would make the argument based on the arc we went on with him between Iron Man 1 and 3. That was, again, a moment of like, dude, really? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that is what we saw over the course of that character, because remember, in the middle of that movie, we're dealing with his peak alcoholism, which they also did not actually address.
Yeah, but I want to make it clear. They did not have a plan to evolve Tony. That is retrofitting. What you're saying is retrofitting. Like, oh, Tony, they didn't go, well, let's start him out as a sexist and then we'll evolve him to this elevated person about women down the road. No, they got crap for it, and then they adjusted some of the storylines, adjusted some of the future stuff so that he would come across as someone who's quote-unquote evolved. I don't think in any way, shape, or form they were like, let's turn him into a raging
Iron Man 2 came out before Avengers, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, well, I don't know about that, because if you look at it, then you saw Avengers and how he's talking with Pepper the whole time, and how like mainly his stuff, again, his arrogance was more of he thinks he's smarter than everybody else.
Right. That's totally cool. I don't mind any of that. So yeah, that's
I
did it too. Where did Happy evolve? Happy made some comments that were inappropriate as well. So
no, he definitely did. But if I remember, Happy made those comments to her as they got in the ring, and then she beat the shit out of him. So I think the other part of it too was, you gonna talk about me how? Boom, boom, boom. Oh shit, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we shouldn't talk about this woman this way. So like, I'm not saying it's okay. I again think I'm glad we have grown past that, but I think it's not, I don't think it's so far bad as like, say, Whedon's like up the skirt shots of Wonder Woman and Justice League. You know what I'm saying? That is actually like, what are you doing? Versus this isn't great, but in terms of the character and what immediately happens afterwards of like, maybe I shouldn't talk about her in a sexual way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only minor bit of like pushback I would get, like minor pushback.
Yeah, fair point. All right, well, let's move on to another thing that we should talk about. Speaking of young, attractive women, let's talk about Sydney Sweeney and this situation that has popped up. This is a hell of a situation that has popped up, y'all. Sydney Sweeney has an American Eagle campaign that is happening now. And in the advertising campaign, Sydney is at the center of the campaign. She's the star of the clothing retailer's latest denim-focused fall campaign with the tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, Jeans, which is a play on for Sydney Sweeney's great jeans, Genes. In one clip, which accrued more than 1.1 million views on American Eagle's Instagram page, Sweeney stands before a poster of herself titled, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, before the word jeans is scratched out and replaced with the word jeans as in the jeans you wear. And so a lot of people now, and even in one of the things here, one of the ads, it says genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. Sweeney says this before the camera pans up to her blue eyes. My jeans are blue. So a lot of people are upset about this and called this eugenics, said that it was promoting white supremacy, and even incurred the word Nazi when describing this kind of stuff. And by the way, Sydney has designed a jean with butterflies on it that is special, that you can buy, and all the proceeds go to a domestic violence charity. So this is a really interesting situation here that is causing friction and divide and division and battles back and forth. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know if this is real, but if it is, I need you to go ahead and share the thing that I just put up.
I had this up. Yes. Beyonce has better jeans. This is not real.
I don't know if
that's real. Marketing don't work that fast, but this is pretty amazing.
They could. They got the photo shoots were there. They just needed to be somebody do it. Somebody get the goddamn graphic designer on the line right now. Get him on the line right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is amazing stuff for sure. Amazing stuff for sure. But what are your thoughts on this, Winston? There is this let's be real, over the last few years, there has been this, how can I say this kind of conversation around Sydney Sweeney, these kinds of talks that she is a MAGA person who is keeping it kind of low key and not being overt about it. Her family having America Great Again hats were pictured in some event. And look, no one's going like, you can't have political views. Of course you can. But it's clear that American Eagle, which stood for diversity in their most recent campaigns the last few years, focused on a lot of people of color wearing their clothes, now they've dialed into what they see possibly as America moving to a more conservative, more white point of view again here under the Donald Trump administration. So what do you think about this, man?
I have gone on quite the journey with this story.
Yeah. Okay.
It started with me going, I'm but a lot of people know that I'm a big fan of Philip DeFranco. That's typically where I'll watch my news, just because he is very good about just giving you the story.
Yeah.
He'll give his 2 cents, but then he just is like, what do y'all think, honestly? And he'll just give it straight up. And I have rarely ever seen him miss, at least in the modern era. If you go back to like his old stuff, there's some stuff that he himself admits to, like he used to do the hot lady of the day or whatever, almost like it was Jet Magazine or some shit. And he's gone back and be like, but that's beside the point. I only knew about this because he was reporting on it. I knew nothing about it whatsoever. And then when I was like, I was like, are we doing that thing again where we're just making a fuss out of something and it doesn't, like, and we're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be? And only because I don't remember which of the ads I saw first, but I was like, that was tame as fuck, guys. Like, what are we doing? Then I started, now that I had seen it, obviously the algorithm heard me. So it started feeding me everybody's outrage about this.
Yeah.
And so then I saw all of the ads and I was like, oh, that's not good. That's actually really not good. That's actually very bad.
Yeah.
And then I finally came around to this afternoon while I was making lunch. I saw this one guy's TikTok about it. He did a sketch. And he had essentially 2 people talking about it, and one person be like, this is the grossest thing that's ever happened in marketing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, it's not great, but like, are we also not sure that, like, whether this was intentional or a mistake, you do realize that by calling attention to it and putting so much emphasis on it, you're actually emboldening said people that would want to use this as an opportunity to further push eugenics and everything else. You are like, oh wait, that pisses them off, do more. So there's this almost idea of, we've done the finger wagging, let that shit go, or you're just going to encourage people to do more, because then on top of that, it feels like what American Eagle probably did. There was enough people to see it that in marketing that either my lady's a marketer, and she's like, you'd be surprised how the higher ups, they really are just like, yep, good. And they just sign shit off and they don't care. Like, ooh, Sydney Sweeney with the titties? Okay, yeah, cool. They don't actually care, pay attention. Or someone really did go, we know we're going to ruffle feathers. We put it out there. We go, whoops, our bad. We didn't know, and pull it down. But everybody's talking about American Eagle. Like, their stock went up 17% off of this.
Yep.
100%. So like, I think it's one of those things that they most likely did this shit on purpose.
Yes.
They probably
100%.
weren't doing it necessarily because there's like David Duke is running American Eagle and they're just trying to like really talk about stand back and stand by or some shit like that. But they did it enough to go, it'll piss some people off. The controversy will be enough. We can pull it back and go, whoops, our bad. And then that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? And so the biggest thing we have to do, I think, when you see shit, call shit, but don't let this be a distract. Like, you know what Trump loves about this? Guess what people haven't been talking about quite as much the last 2 days because they've been so obsessed about, do you know they were using Sydney Sweeney to sell eugenics? How about we focus on the one thing that apparently everybody's been pissed off about? Where the Epstein list, bro? Where that dude?
Where the files? Show me the lists. Yeah, exactly. No, that's a great point you bring up, dude. Yeah. This distraction, and look, so you have to ask, is American Eagle owned by someone who has connections with Trump, has the financial connections with Trump?
Apparently the owner or the main CEO, whatever, of American Eagle is one of the largest independent donors to Netanyahu directly, not to Israel, to Netanyahu directly.
Wow. Oh, Jesus. That guy. There's
so
nothing going on. There's no starvation in Gaza. That guy. So that's the thing that's frustrating is you see this happen. This is corporate America, and to me, that's I'm so mad about this stuff that's been happening. Well, not mad, like raging or anything, but just like kind of upset seeing this stuff happen. How much, like, it's amazing how we've all of a sudden, since Trump won, those of us on the left or maybe the middle left have become the people calling out corporate America. When Trump's people have been calling out corporate America, the MAGA people, for 8 years, 10 years, about how they manipulates things. And it's just like the South Park episode last week, where the guy says, wait a minute, we can't do everything. We can't do things the way they did it. We can't be telling people to think the way we want them to think after we got mad for them telling us how to think for the last 10 years. That's exactly what is happening here. And you see that this is very clear. And Sydney is a part of it. Sydney ain't no dummy, because it just was announced today that Jeff Bezos is funding her line of clothes that are coming out. I think it's lingerie and underwear and all this kind of stuff, and workout clothes. Like him and Lauren Sanchez are funding it. And what has Jeff Bezos done? He has gutted the Washington Post of any editors who were going to comment on Trump and any of his foibles. Yes, there's been reporting on the Epstein files, whatever, but like he got rid of the editors that were going to write columns calling out Trump about his actions. Also, so it's all connected. So you have to take responsibility for the people you're in business with. If she's in business with Bezos, I mean, for God's sakes, what are we talking about here? So I think she is part of this whole MAGA pipeline thing, and people are going to have to come to terms with it. And this was her way of like making it clear, but doing it in a subtle way. And the domestic violence thing from her other genes, that's to cover up. That's to provide a shield so that she can keep doing what she's doing and be like, well, this is for charity. This other side's for charity. So I know, man. She's a smart businesswoman, if nothing else, man. And people want to dismiss her as like, a blonde with boobs and whatever. Like, no, this woman's smart. She knows exactly what she's doing. Whether you like it or not, she knows exactly what she's doing,
I mean, look, she apparently, like, when she was on SNL, like the whole Hooters sketch that happened.
Oh, yeah.
She was like leaning in. She was like, yo, they love me for my titties. What can we do that like leans into the fact that like I'm hot? Like she is very aware of why she is like at the forefront is because she's hot. Which is funny because personally, I think she's fine. Like I don't like, and not like fine, like, oh, she's fine. I think she's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like Anna de Armas, you know what I'm saying? Like all day, but Sydney's I'm like, okay, sure, whatever.
Right.
So, but that's the whole thing, man. I mean, look, I don't know how this always comes the F back around to Caitlin Clark, but it's it is only from the standpoint of the one thing that I was saying is that you are seeing, because there's this kind of the dog whistle that is the term "Make America Great Again." It's the idea of like we mean white. Like literally, because we talked about this with the that somebody put that post, if this was really just about immigrants paying taxes,
Yeah,
then you wouldn't be going to the IRS for their tax information. If it was really about them, like, X, Y, and Z, all the things that were listed out, and it became very clear what this was about.
Right.
And so it's kind of the same thing that, unfortunately, these women, whether they're doing it, like they're buying into it, or they're being used as poster children.
Right.
It is this idea of just like the white, like, this is what a hot woman looks like. You know what I mean? Her jeans are better. You know what I mean? Like that is what is being leaned into pretty heavy.
Yeah, because I mean, if you can look at this from an innocent angle, like it's a playful ad on the word jeans, right? And the point is to sell jeans, not her actual jeans, but the jeans she's wearing or the jeans American Eagle is making. So I think in our world that wasn't as politically divided as it is now, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you can get away with this ad and there would be some people who are upset about it, but it wouldn't be loud. It's loud now because people are aware of this stuff in ways that they never have been before. And optics is important. And I agree with you. I think American Eagle knew fucking exactly what they were doing with this to try to get attention. I mean, I was watching a Dodge Ram commercial the other day, and they're like, "We make it in America. This is an American truck by American." And it's
Pepsi
red,
did
white,
that
and blue.
too.
Yeah, rockets going, red, white, and blue planes going by. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? This is a goddamn South Park parody commercial. And I think it was Dana White from fucking UFC who was voicing it over. And I'm like, what is happening, for God's sake? So, yeah.
Well, I think the other thing about it that's like, look, I will give, even if I don't like it, I'll give Chevy and Pepsi credit for being like, this is America. We make it in America. I'll tell you why that's a little bit smart. I don't like it, but it's smart.
Right.
Rocha, who out here drinking all of the soda? Tell me right now, is it the liberals in Los Angeles? Are they're drinking Diet Coke and or LaCroix? All right, they're not drinking soda.
Maybe Bear.
Billy Bob gonna drink his soda, bro. You're like, you're damn right. That's an American soda. I'm gonna drink my American soda. This is where Elon messed up. Who is buying the Teslas? It is not the middle America.
No.
They are buying their Chevys. So that makes sense to go, this is an American truck made for Americans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's where, in my opinion, Elon screwed up, because the one thing that's going on right now, so I don't know if you knew, but that damn Elon supercharging diner 24-hour movie thing finally opened.
Oh, yes.
And they have, it was complete chaos before. And now there are protesters outside, and they're on the sidewalks. They're not on private property. And they have inflatable floating men as Elon doing this over and over. Like it is programmed to specifically do that, bro.
Dude.
It's like, and so that's the whole thing. I don't love seeing that kind of propaganda and marketing, but that to me, for Pepsi and for Chevy, is smart marketing. Who is your base?
No, I don't disagree. It's just when you see it, you're very clearly leaning into a certain point of view. But I feel unnecessarily so. We all fucking know what country we live in. We all support America. The stupid narrative some of the people on the right have, and some of the MAGA, if you criticize America, you don't love it. Meanwhile, they bitch about their family members 24/7. Somehow we're still believe you love your family members. Like, it's that kind of bullshit narrative that is easily deflated like a popped balloon. That frustrates me, because that's the thing that motivates people to do ads like this, to be like, you better be proud about America. This is made in America. No one loves my country more than I do. And I will defend it and fight for it and cheer for it till the day I'm dead. I'm proud to be an American. But part of being an American, and Teddy Roosevelt, one of our greatest presidents, says this, is that you must always question the office of the president, question the people in power, because that's how you test how American people are. And so I think that's an important thing. And so the fact that people are turning any kind of dissent or questioning, meanwhile, they spent the last 4 years questioning Joe Biden, for fuck's sake. They spent any questioning of America as some kind of negative. It's frustrating. And so that prompts stupid ads like that are overtly an American throwing his dick out into the fucking, onto a truck, under the bed of a truck, that drives me insane, because it's so unnecessary. But like you said, it's smart marketing, possibly, to see if people are going to now dial in and buy more of those trucks in the long run, And I don't really know how many of these are how many of these trucks are actually made in America. How many of these parts?
Well, but that's the whole thing. When you go and look at it, they may have their final assembly done here, but that's why the tariffs have been so goddamn damning.
Yeah.
And why they've had to continuously be put on pause, because everything surrounding it, you have a situation where like some materials will come down from Canada, it'll come down here and be manipulated. It then has to go down to Mexico to have more stuff added on and then sent back here to so already you're dealing with 2 to 3 tariff interactions because you had to do that, driving the price of everything up. So it's like, that's a whole other longer conversation.
Listen, someone called me out correctly. Stephen Weber, I love the Union Jack that Rocha's wearing as he's talking about America. Yeah. That's a fair point. I just happen to be wearing a Captain Britain shirt. I apologize. You're right. That's a fair point. I love me England too. Don't get me wrong, but America is my country.
Mario Kart made in America. Not even close.
Pizza made in America. Wait, what? Okay. Olive Garden made in America. Anyway. All right, well, we'll see what happens with this. I think this is a legitimate I saw Joe Walsh, who's a guy I follow. He's a former Tea Party guy, and he's the anti-Trump guy, and he was complaining about this. But I think this is great. I think it's good to have these conversations. I think it's essential. It shows that there's an active base of people who want to discuss this stuff and make people aware of this stuff. And people go like, oh, this is so exhausting. It's like, no, this is important conversations to have. People want to stay politically tuned in, and they want to be aware of this stuff. And I think it's good to have. But Winston, you make an excellent point. The more you highlight this, the more popular it becomes. And then it calls out, it brings out some really creepy motherfuckers to be a part of this, like Ted Cruz, who goes, now the crazy left has come out against beautiful women. I'm sure that will poll well. It's dirty, Ted. This is dirty old man getting all turned on by Sydney Sweeney. So it brings out the wrong people for this kind of stuff. But, welcome to America.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the era that we're in.
Yeah.
And so this is one of those situations where we do need to continue to push back when just overt bullshit happens.
Yeah.
But to just be aware, and to that point, push back on the bullshit, but don't give it life. Yeah. Like it's a weird thing to say, because the thing is the more that the shit snowballs, it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? So like that's all. You can call it out enough to go, nah, this is stupid. But this is wrong for these reasons, and then we have to keep it pushing. Yeah. If all the think pieces were like, yo, this is bad for these reasons, but also what the Epstein list, bro? What about that big beautiful bill, bitch? What about these tariffs? You stupid son of a bitch. Like, talk about it, then come back to focus. Cool. I addressed your little side quest. Now, what the fuck are we doing about this shit? Yeah. That is what it has to be. Because like, I don't know if you saw that, like there were some 20 people that were arrested trying to stop ICE from like their ridiculous tactics and what they were doing. Yeah. And these ICE agents were making up lies. 8 of those cases have already been thrown out because it was proven that they were lying about how the interaction went down and how they were like, oh, they put hands on us, so that's why we arrested them. And they were trying to whatever. Where in actuality, you would look at like video comes out and it's like, no, they just started effing people up for being around and screaming, what are you doing? Right. And so now that like they're having to walk shit back. You know what I mean? So again, call out the bullshit, but don't get distracted. What's happening with ICE is more important. What's happening with the big beautiful bill is more important. All of that shit is more important than to worry about American Eagle that's trying to make money off of your rage.
Agreed. Sky the Magnanimous 8 informs us Ted Cruz's real name is Rafael
Eduardo Cruz.
He was born in Calgary, Canada.
Wait. Yeah. So he's a Hispanic Canadian running his mouth like he's a good old boy from Texas.
You don't see too many of those this side of Drake. Hispanic Canadian. It's an interesting situation, man. I mean, I don't know. This is an interesting stuff to see for that, of course. But we'll see. So frustrating. Anyway, all right. Speaking of the Epstein files, let's get into that next. Winston, as if this hasn't been a spicy enough episode, let's get into it. What is the update on the Epstein files? So much happening here. Of course, last we've seen since we were on the show, a lot has happened here. Winston, the Trump administration has tried really hard to quiet down all the conversations about the Epstein files. None of the stuff they're trying to do is working. They got Tulsi Gabbard to trot out there some nonsense about treason. Obama now wants to arrest Kamala Harris, Beyonce and Obama and all these people for political donations or whatever madness they're coming up with. They're doing all this kind of stuff to not talk about the Epstein files. And now he sent Todd Blanche, who was the assistant attorney general, to go speak to Ghislaine Maxwell for 2 particular sessions. She apparently revealed that there were 100 people that she mentioned in the whole conversation. There is no reports back from Blanche that she mentioned Trump, but there's been this floating around of a pardon. Will it be a pardon? Trump keeps saying, well, I could do it. I haven't thought about it, or I don't know anything about this, or blah, blah, blah. But now her attorney came out today and said very clearly, like, she's not talking unless she has immunity or a pardon. So now we're in this situation. And, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, recessed the Congress early because the Democrats were going to force a vote on the Epstein files to release the Epstein files. And now Johnson is hiding behind, well, we're only going to release the credible stuff because we want to protect the victims, which is nonsense, because you can protect the victims easily by just taking them out of the transcript and just releasing the transcript, only editing out the victims. But no, they don't want to do that. And to add another element to this, Winston, apparently, according to CBS, the missing minute at the prison cell for Epstein has been found. And that apparently the DOJ and other people, according to the report on the Daily Beast, have the full video. So we will see how much of that gets released as well. But this is absolute madhouse shit going on right now. And they should just release this shit. I mean, it's crazy.
But that's the problem. They won't, because he's all up in that. I mean, I believe you mentioned this. Maybe it's just so ingrained in my mind. It's just there. But the whole adage of, he was told in May he was on that list, bro, and he's all up in them files. So
according to the Wall Street Journal, he was told in May. He denied it, I think yesterday or 2 days ago in Scotland. He denied that he was ever briefed on it, which of course, who's gonna track that down? Pam ain't gonna reveal the truth. So yeah.
No, but it is clear that he is going to ultimately he's going to pardon her. There's too much teeing up of it's within my power to do it. I haven't thought about it. I've never thought about it. I maybe thought about it. It's very clear he's setting that up. And then he could turn around and go, but see, I brought you the most important thing, blah, blah, blah. It's just go, if trials can have suit, for example, what just happened with Diddy, that it was Jane Doe and you ended up with all, you can do that. There are ways to protect the victims and still release this information, because none of us, we care about the victims, and that we obviously feel horrible with what happened to them, and we hope they're getting the proper care and everything they need to recover. But that's not what we're actually after. What we're after are these assholes that were there doing this shit, and then making sure that they see justice for exploiting these people. So put it out. And the funny thing is, obviously it doesn't make any sense for Obama being on that at all. It doesn't make it, how is it that Obama has no pictures with this dude and yet somehow he's all over it, and yet Trump has a million pictures with this dude and he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But let's say, for example, that he actually is a shitty person and he was also on this island doing shit, then he can burn too. That's the thing that I don't think people don't that are well, what about if Obama did it? Then let him go. What about if Clinton did it? Then he can go too. We don't we actually care. When we say that we care about the lives of women and children, we actually mean it, versus you saying that shit and then 2 seconds later you're gonna do some shit to screw them over.
100%. If there are Democrats on the release that list, and all of them should be kicked out of politics, should be arrested. If there's evidence to back it all, take them all out. It should all be released. All the names, Democrat, Independent, Republican, whatever social strata they were, they should all be released. And yes, redact the names of the victims. The only people that are going to release the names of the victims if this thing gets leaked are MAGA people, because they will go after these victims to shut them up. And it really says something that nobody from the DOJ is interviewing the victims. They're interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell. Why aren't they interviewing the victims? Because they don't want to hear the stories that implicate Trump. They don't want to hear the stories that implicate their big donors. They don't want to hear the stories. And that's the big lie about all of this. MAGA bought it hook, line, and sinker that it was the Democrats who were running this cabal. But as you've seen with a lot of MAGA shit, it's all projection, because it was really their people who were running a pedophile ring. Their people who were trying to have sex with young women and women who are underage girls. who are underage and all of that. It's their people who are doing it. And so, and if there are Democrats involved, fuck yeah, bring them out and skewer them. Absolutely, throw them in prison or whatever. Now, people are like Clinton, I don't give a fuck. Put Clinton in prison too. Like, it's not an issue for the left, as you said, Winston, so well. And it's frustrating to see this kind of stuff, and the way they're trying to delay it over and over again. And even they're trying to distract with Obama stuff, as you see it. Like, this is apparently going around with MAGA, and people are like, why is Obama having drinks with Epstein? That's not Epstein. That's Anthony Bourdain, you morons. That is not fucking Jeffrey Epstein. But yet MAGA is running this picture all over the place, claiming that it's Obama having drinks with Epstein. It's so frustrating, the kind of distractions that they're trying to throw at the wall instead of just releasing the list. And nothing says you're more guilty than doing all of this stuff to try not to release the list, Winston, I feel like. Or
that's the whole thing. Because even the video from like, what is it, 2010, of Epstein being deposed, and they were like, yeah, okay, what did you ever spend time with Donald Trump, in the company of women under the age of 18? And he goes, I would like to invoke even though I would love to answer, I would like to invoke my 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment rights. And I was like, yeah. I get that is your right to not self-incriminate. I also am like, you do understand that don't look great, because if the answer was no, you would just say no.
Right. And Michael Wolff came out and said that he was showing pictures of, women, young girls on Trump's lap who were in states of undress. And so that's a really unsettling thing if that's true. Someone asked, how would you feel if your favorite celebrity was on the list? I would feel like this. Fuck them. Put them in jail. I don't care who it is. I honestly don't care who it is. If
I would feel the same. I would feel the same way that I felt about Jonathan Majors, that I felt about Diddy, that I felt about any other black celebrity that I've watched find out that they're a bad person and did something fucked up.
Right.
My soul is crushed because I really liked them, and that maybe they inspired me to pursue my art harder or to try a different way in my hustle. But that doesn't mean they get a carte blanche pass to slap women around and kill people and pedophilia, all like that you don't get a pass just because, hey man, you made Bad Boys for Life. Okay. And like, you know what I'm saying? So if they are, then they gotta go. I'm sorry. If you're on there, then you need to see your day in court.
100%. That's the thing at the end of the, it's like, just, I think he should have just released it, because let's pull it back from the judgment. It's like, look at it logically, politically. They clearly thought this wasn't going to blow up in their face. They thought they had MAGA in their pocket so hard that, as Trump said years and years and years ago, that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue in New York City and no one would, and people would still vote for him. This was in essence the test case for that comment, because his name is all over these files, allegedly. Allegedly, he was told all about that in May, according to the Wall Street Journal, by Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, apparently. And so this is there. This is out there. And the actions here are the actions of a guilty person. The actions here trying to stop all this stuff coming out. It's not about protecting the victims. I don't believe them at all when they say that nonsense. It's about protecting their dear leader and the power that they have accrued under Trump. Because if Trump gets found out to be this child sexual predator, they all have to turn on him. And if they don't, which a lot of people, like Azealia Banks came out, and did you see that tweet? That was madness. Oh, you did not see her tweet? She's
always on something. What does she do now?
Bro, she basically excused his pedophilia with her tweet. Here it is. Let me bring it up. This is madness. I don't understand this madness at all. She said, okay, in Donald Trump's defense, fucking 14-year-old girls was really only made social taboo in the 1990s.
Excuse me?
That's what I'm saying. Lolita came out in 1950 from Nabokov explaining the disgusting nature of that. She said, my grandmother was born in 1927 and had her first child when she was 12. Teenage pregnancy only became frowned upon with the rise of Jerry Springer. What? And I also can be honest about the fact that I was old enough to choose, seduce, and decide to fuck grown-ass men when I was 15. I really don't get why women are fronting like they weren't fucking 40 years old at 15. Like, come on now. I'm honestly not surprised or mad at Trump for getting some 15-year-old, because those were the times. Good night, USA, for fucking ever. Now, if he was effing a 10-year-old, we have a problem. But if the girls were 13 plus, who cares? Move on. This is legitimately a tweet from her.
But this is part of the reason why whenever, like, I genuinely hate this woman because she got famous off of one song, never really put anything like that again, and has constantly said this ridiculous bullshit. And then the few times that she gets called out on stuff, I don't know if you saw, she was running her mouth. They brought her on Wild 'N Out, and then they said something after she had already made a pretty like edgy, like rude joke to somebody. They said something back, and then she went and cried, "Oh, their color is so God, they're so racist against me as a dark-skinned black woman." It's like, girl, did you see the shit you said 2 seconds before? Kiss my ass. Like, she is the worst human, and it doesn't make 212 is not worth all of the bullshit we've had to put up with her for years. It's because look, if she really wants to play that history game, and you can go back in history and look at the situations like that of where young women unfortunately were being married off. The point is, to say that it only became a social taboo in the 90s is crazy. That is a wild, out of the pocket statement. All right. But all of that being said, you think that still makes it okay, and they were still hanging out in the early 2000s and all that shit. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, the laws were still in place that you were not able to give consent at that age. So it was still illegal, regardless if it was it was only a social taboo. It was illegal already. So what are you going on about? I hate her. I really hate her. God damn.
It's just madness, man. It's utter madness. And you see, I mean, Charlie Kirk is trying to get them to move on from the Epstein files. I mean, these people who are crowing, screaming, crying about Democrats having this pedophilia ring and this cabal behind the scenes. Now that it's their dear leader, all of a sudden it's let's move on time. This is old news. I saw, what's this? Oh God, I can't remember the guy's name who runs that too. The old dude is balding with a beard who hosts Mark Levin. Yeah, Mark Levin was out here going, we need to stop talking. We need to move on, America. He's giving you your orders. Move on, MAGA. And it's like, no, man, there's one thing I will say about this that has been surprising for me. The fact that MAGA people have been very principled about this. They legitimately believe these Epstein files are showing the worst natures of the rich, wealthy elite in our country and other countries, clearly with Prince Andrew, that they are adamant that these files need to be released. And so I give a lot of credit to MAGA, and I don't always, right? I don't really do it hardly ever, but I got to give them credit for being principled in their stance on this. They are very clear that this is important. And Trump wouldn't be flailing like this, and his people wouldn't be flailing like this if MAGA wasn't on their asses. They could give two shits if the Democrats are crying about it. But the fact that their own base is going, this is nonsense, and all the distractions you're doing, we're not buying any of this shit. Release the files. I got to give them credit for being principled on this particular stance, which they rarely are, honestly.
I mean, look, what did I say about Tucker?
Yeah, right.
A broken clock is right twice a day, bro.
Yeah,
because same thing. There was moments at this with Candace Owens. It's like broken clock right twice a day, but then she wants to keep running the mouth of Brigitte.
Oh my God!
I hope they sue her to oblivion. I hope she loses everything. I hope she loses absolutely everything. Because beyond all that, even if that is the case, why is that your fucking business?
Yeah, right.
Even if somehow, some way that is actually what is going on with Brigitte, why is that your It's not your parent. It's nobody. That has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do. You are just running your mouth. So I hope they sue her to oblivion.
Yeah, I agree. And before you go, loving Joe Rogan for his recent anti-Trump stances, he said back in May and April that he believed Candace Owens in her comments about Brigitte, and he believes Brigitte is a man after having watched Candace Owens' stuff. And now they're saying that could be the linchpin in the case, that they can prove that someone with a platform like this believed Candace Owens' debunked story about Brigitte, that she was a man, and so they can say, see, she influenced, so she did cause damage to her and sue her for this. So that'd be hilarious if Joe Rogan is the thing that helps Brigitte win this case and make her and bankrupt Candace Owens. I hope. But all right. Well, anyway, we've talked about a lot of topics. We should get to the questions, Winston's. We're running out of time here, so let's jump into these questions. Thanks to everybody who's been watching us. 350 people joining us for a majority of the show. You guys are amazing. Before we get to the questions, real quick, Winston, let people know where they can follow you, brother, because I do this at the end sometimes. I forgot. I should do it in the middle as well. Please let
All
people
good.
know.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blur on all platforms. Yesterday, went and got a blurred breakdown in. We did some live streaming on Twitch. Tomorrow, I'll be doing the same, but we also have a Blurreds in the Hood that's going off.
You and Jay. Nice.
Yeah, Jay and I will be up tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, so don't miss that. Depending on how late we go, will determine how much streaming I'm going to do personally afterwards. Obviously, if we go a couple hours, I might be a little tired, so we might call it soon. But we've got that. Obviously, we've got Capes and Cows on Fridays over on the Christian Holliff channel with Christian and Coy, myself. And then, so just check me out on my platforms. Check me out on those other programs, and I will see y'all on the flip, man.
Cool, man. Cool. Let's get to the questions. Yeah, definitely follow Winston everywhere, bro. Phil P, what's up, Phil? Says huge love from old London town. Went to the Oasis gig at Wembley last week with my boy Mick, who introduced me to the top 10 and to this Outlaw. So that's awesome. That's great. I hope you and Mick had a great time. I wish I could go see that Oasis concert. Everyone's talking about how amazing it is. So shout out to you, Phil. Hope you had a blast, brother. And how do you feel about Liverpool's transfer window? Yeah. I am too for like Cam says, I'm boycotting Marvel until they recast T'Challa. Not to mention Sam has been in how many projects and still doesn't have a love interest? They did him dirty. Hey, Winston, what do you think about it? Is that fair criticism that Sam doesn't have a love interest yet after all these projects?
I mean, if you look at it, let me see here. Tony had one. Steve had one.
Certainly,
Steve. They didn't focus on it, but Steve had one.
Yeah.
Thor had one. Hulk had one.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes.
Star-Lord and Gamora were together.
Yes.
Even Rocket had some that we learned at the end of Guardians 3.
True.
Drax had a wife and child. They were killed. Groot seems asexual. Let's see. Wanda with Vision.
Yes.
Hawkeye has a whole family.
Right.
So Scarlet, so Black Widow was with Hulk for like half a second.
Yes. Right. Still count?
Yeah, but Black Panther had Nakia.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the case of pretty much everybody has gotten one. Has had one more or less. I guess Bucky hasn't, but he was evil. I don't feel like bad guys are really getting like he became good.
Right.
I guess what also who else? Wong kind of has what's her name? Madison.
Oh yeah, Madison.
even if it's just like they're really good friends that like will they won't they? He's got Madison.
Madison.
Yeah. I guess everybody. I guess even Nick Fury got a wife, a Skrull wife.
Which we found out.
No, we don't talk about Secret Invasion, bro. I saw the funniest video. Do you know RDC World?
No, who's that?
There's a bunch of these black kids from Texas. Their sketches are hilarious. You've seen a lot of them where they've been like after LeBron. Yeah, like after LeBron lost in the finals, be like, you off the team. I'm done with your ass. Like all that shit.
Great.
They did one as like fight, like the main guy played like Black Feige, and he was just like, all right, y'all, we gonna go through this real quick. I just Marvel, we rolling, baby. I just want to like give some shout outs and stuff. He goes, okay, whose idea was it to do Kang? It was you. You fired. Get out. And then at one point they go, okay, no. Who did Secret Invasion? They're like, don't worry, you're not in trouble. And he goes, oh, I did. He's like, oh man, get out. Secretly. Like secretly. When he said secretly, I was like, yo.
Oh man, they're good. Those guys are good. Those guys are great.
Yeah, they're really funny, man. They are really, really funny.
Fantastic 314 says, if it's quote all about the money, then Feige should have known the last Hulk movie made $265 million while Civil War made $1.15 billion. No excuses.
Wow.
Yeah, fair point.
Wow.
Chris Corcoran says, did you see the Nelk Boys podcast interview Netanyahu and ask about whether he likes McDonald's or Burger King? Absolute losers, lock him up. Now, listen, guys, that's a little out of my age range, but I was
familiar with what happened.
I did because I was on TikTok and I love TikTok. I'm a TikTok addict. I only get 1 hour every 2 or 3 days because I will lose days on that shit.
Okay.
And I saw the clips though of the Nelk Boys. I saw them getting called out by other TikTokers to their face about how they interview this guy. I thought this is a fascinating thing to consider because, I mean, why is he going on their show? And he's doing it because people understand from the certain political bent. They understand how important getting on these social media shows, these TikTok shows, are to the messages they're trying to put out. People are going to these platforms for information. So it's fascinating. Yeah, what do you think of this?
My problem is you just became you just let Netanyahu go off rip. They didn't push back at all because they're young and they're dumb.
Yes.
So they genuinely didn't have the wherewithal, the stones to actually ask questions or to push back on anything. So Netanyahu obviously loved that because it was easy. It was an easy avenue to try and go and get the same crowd that fell in love with Trump when he did his Aiden Ross and the Paul brothers and all that tour during the election. He's following the same guidelines and did it with this Nelk podcast. And that to me is the problem, is that because there was zero pushback on everything that he said. Not there was not a single thing. Yeah. And that's the only thing that I really hate about the podcast era. There's a part of me that loves it. Obviously, that's what we do and things like that. Yeah. But I also hate it because that means that whoever can have it, and if they just chill on vibes, then they end up in a big enough situation that they can have an interview like that, and that's actually more hurt than it is help.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. Matt Sister McCall says Nicki Minaj jeans get better because the jeans don't fit. Oh, hello. There you go.
Oh, her jeans are better because the jeans don't fit. I mean, did you not hear that my girl Beyonce said that in the Savage line? She said, if you ain't got to jump to put your jeans on, then you can't feel my pain. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce covered that. All right.
She did. Samuel says, thoughts on David Zucker, original director of The Naked Gun, refusing to see the new reboot? Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think he was developing it, and then they kind of took it away from him and went with a young. But the response has been so positive that the studio can say we made the right move. So yeah, I'm not as broken up about it, to be honest. Well, what about you?
So someone just said in the chat, and I heard about this. The Nelk Boys even admitted, because they've been getting called out by everybody calling them idiots. They were like, yeah, we were handed a list of questions from Netanyahu's team. They didn't ask a single original question. Yeah. They were just handed the questions to ask, and then they did not interact. They would say, what do you think about this? And then Netanyahu would talk for 10 minutes. What do you think about this? And then Netanyahu would talk for 10 minutes.
Such nonsense. Nonsense. You're essentially a puppet. You're a puppet for those people. They got their hand right up your ass. You have no independent thought. Clip Champ Razor says, if B&W had Evans if Brave New World had Evans instead of Mackie in it and everything else was the same, the long-term box office would have been only slightly higher. Bad writing. Yeah, I don't disagree. Winston, I don't think Chris Evans could have saved that movie. And as we've seen in other Chris Evans movies outside the Marvel Universe, it ain't Chris Evans saving those movies if you look at those box office. So
let me look at I need to check the box office real quick. So
yeah.
So like we weren't in full free fall yet because Love and Thunder still made 760.
Yes.
But it was the beginning of going, whoa, like the last one did really, really well with Ragnarok, and people love what's going on. It was enough that they're kind of like, we're kind of done with Thor movies for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, yes, it would have been slightly better, but the writing was bad enough and there was enough bad will kind of happening that they were like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. All right, one last question here. Is there any chance of a Geek the Tequila crossover episode? Enjoying the Rocha content, looking forward to Star Trek Strange New Episodes reviews. Sure, I would love to have Winston on Geek Buddies. It's something I've certainly considered and talked about, and Winston always said he's up for it. So maybe there might be an episode coming up where we can bring Winston on and have some fun conversations about geek stuff, because I know he would get along with Vogel and Shannon.
I would lose my mind. It'd be great. It'd be great times. So yeah, you let me know and we'll make it happen.
Done and done, man. Done and done. There is one Streamlab that came through. Thank you to Fred Tastic, who said, sup, spill the tequilas. Well, Goldfish Memory has its benefits since it's Mackie's captain and DaCosta's Marvels, but not his Quantumania Thunderbolts that were misses. Oh, that's fair. Look out, Pedro, because when F4 falls short of profit, you're the next GOAT, as in scapegoat. I mean, not wrong.
I mean, how are they doing right now? Because I know they had a pretty decent opening weekend, but
it's
only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. Yeah. Why am I asking that question?
Well, people were going crazy about the Superman Tuesday. So the fact that they're not posting these things, I think, is an interesting situation. Like that they're not posting record numbers.
I also find it funny that Variety was it Variety that did that originally, or was it the Hollywood Reporter that was going at Sinners? It was Variety.
Oh yeah,
wasn't
it was Variety.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden they go 4 reasons why Fantastic Four ended Marvel's box office slump. But for Sinners did this, but this is why it's actually gonna fail. Like, just all right, brother.
I know you sent me this Hall of Fame thing. Do you want to do it real quick, or do you have to
real quick? Okay.
All right. So this is something Winston, bro. So I'm gonna let Winston present it. Go ahead, brother.
So the 2026 NFL Hall of Fame candidates have been announced. You can see here, these are the 12. You got Breeze, Fitzgerald, Witten, Gore, Edelman, Olsen, McCoy, Bryant, Pouncey, Rivers, Gostkowski, and Atkins. So my question is, they typically do somewhere between 4 and 8 people. So who would you say is going in? And to my knowledge, I believe everyone up there, this is their first time being nominated.
Yeah.
So to that point, who do you think? I think that in my opinion, the only first balloters are the top 4.
Ooh,
and
really?
and I think that everybody else, there is an argument for them to be in the Hall of Fame at some point or another, some more urgently than others. But the top 4 there, Breeze got the ring. Breeze brought the city of New Orleans back from nowhere.
100%.
The number of records he had, he was fully keeping pace with Brady and Manning the entire time. Once he got to New Orleans. So no brainer. Larry Fitzgerald is known as one of the greatest wide receivers to have the best hands of anybody.
Yes.
Like the best hands, period. So that's a no-brainer as well.
Yeah.
Frank Gore, if I'm not mistaken, has the most rushing yards over a career period. I want to say he passed Emmett. Frank Gore record. Let me see. Yes. Oh, he's the third. He's the third all-time leading rusher in NFL history with 16,000 yards. Holds the record for the most rushing attempts. That's what it was, at 3,735. He's also amassed 19,250 all-purpose yards, which puts him second in NFL history. Also a no-brainer in my opinion. Witten is that last one that I would put in there, and that's just because when you look at all the records that he holds for the Cowboys, records he holds as like a tight end, stuff like that, I think the 4 of them are a shoo-in. Everybody below, I was saying Edelman yesterday and Shady McCoy. Someone reminded me that Edelman had a steroid case. Didn't know that. So that, to me, I think he gets in eventually, but I think not first ballot. And then Shady, I feel like, considering he's the all-time runner for the Eagles, gives him that kind of edge a little bit. And he does have 2 rings, but they were his backup. So I can see someone saying maybe on the next nomination. But what do you think, man?
I think the top 4 are locks. I think you're 100% correct on that. I think Phillip Rivers is a lock. I know he didn't win the
ballot,
ring.
though. You think first ballot?
100%. Phillip Rivers, he's like Marino. He's one of these incredible quarterbacks that never won the ring for a number of reasons, but he delivered like crazy. His numbers were insane for a long time. It wasn't like Jake Delhomme 5 years and then he fell off a cliff. He was consistently great all the way until he got to that age. And I think, and I know the NFL Hall of Fame loves them some white quarterbacks. So I think Phillip Rivers is absolutely a lot to get in.
The only reason that I'm a little offended by you comparing him to Marino is an MVP. Same year was Offensive Player of the Year. He was Man of the Year, 3-time first team All Pro, 3-time second team All Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler, 5-time passing yards leader, 3-time passing touchdowns leader. Whereas I look over at Rivers, and yes, Comeback Player of the Year one of the years, so I'll give him that.
He went to
8 Pro Bowls, so I'll give him that.
8 Pro Bowls. Yeah,
he went to 8 Pro Bowls over versus the 9. He had passing yards leader 1 time. He had passing touchdown leaders, co-leader 1 time. He had passing rating leader 1 time. It's not to say that he is not fantastic, and I do believe that he deserves to be in eventually, but I don't think off of first ballot personally.
Wow, that's crazy to me. 63,000 passing yards. Passer rating average over his entire career, 95.2. 421 touchdowns to 209 interceptions. And he had a long career. Like, if he only did 7 years, I might have an issue with this. But my man had a long ass career. So to me, that tells me this. I mean, he played for 16 seasons, bro.
No, I get that. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If that's the case, are you saying that Matt Stafford is also a first ballot?
I think he is now that he won the ring.
So but they have comparable numbers.
Mm.
So you're telling me that that's the only reason Matt's in, but Philip just automatically, because you got to remember he had Antonio Gates, he had LaDainian Tomlinson, and then he had that ridiculous Chargers defense that was doing work for years.
Right. He still threw a shit ton of yards. Like he wasn't Trent Dilfering this shit, man. He wasn't Trent Dilfering this shit.
Hold on, let me look up Matt Stafford because I want to see where his yards at.
I gotta be honest with you, Witten is a question for me. I'm not sure Witten's the first ballot Hall of Famer because we've had so many great tight ends now that it's like Witten's stats get kind of lost in the mix. But
that's the thing. There is no Travis Kelce without Witten. Like there's a reason he got called Mr. Old Reliable with his slow ass, and yet somehow would always be able to run straight for the touchdown. But he had 2 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team All-Pros, 11 Pro Bowls, a Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and then as far as his stats with the Cowboys, he has the most career receptions out of everybody. That includes Michael Irving. That includes all the people that have been there. Most career receiving yards out of the entirety of the team at 12,977. Most receptions in a single game, which is 18. I remember that game. That game was crazy. Most games played by any Cowboy at 255. Again, Old Reliable. Most consecutive games started for the Cowboys, 179. First tight end to reach 1,000 receiving yards in a season. He was the first one to do it. And then the first tight end to have at least 65 receptions in consecutive seasons, and first player in franchise history to score in 16 seasons. So, like, that's a lot of records that
I agree. I just don't know if that's going to be enough for people to kind of get him over the line as a first ballot. But you're probably right. He probably is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I think Rivers get it.
Oh shit! He's got 4th receptions in NFL history at 1,228.
All right,
I didn't even realize that he was number 4 in receptions in history.
A lot of positive.
That's crazy, bro.
So I agree with you, the 4. But then I think it goes Rivers, Edelman, and then Shady, and then everyone else after that. So I think Rivers and Edelman are real. I think Rivers is a lock. I think Edelman's a real possibility. I think Shady's a real possibility. Dez is interesting. Dez is kind of interesting. So
Dez may be on the second or third.
Yeah.
If they keep nominating, maybe on like the second or third.
Yeah. And Greg Olsen too, who I think was a damn good tight end, but kind of gets lost in the mix as well. But his commentating is some of the best in the NFL. He fucking dwarfed.
If that gets to go in as part of the thing, then in all honesty, you gotta, if commentating goes in, you also have to throw in Romo. I know that sounds crazy, but when you look at his numbers, and then like as an actual player, even though obviously there was the curse of the Cowboys not really doing anything in the playoffs, but when you look at his overall numbers and some of the things that he did that were absolutely crazy, and then look what he does as a commentator, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
that's fair.
Gotta put it out there.
If only they had said Dez caught the ball. That's right.
God damn it. I have to go.
All right, we gotta go. Fantastic. One last thing. He says the Chargers were so unhappy with Breeze that they drafted Manning, then traded for Rivers instead. That's a miss. I don't know. I thought Rivers was great, man.
Yeah, they were unhappy with Breeze, but then that's the thing. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. A Hall of Fame career is your career, not the beginning of stuff, to the point where if Peyton Manning had decided to stick around for too long as he was in that decline, people would have started to question him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was smart enough that once he really started to feel like this is it, he kind of bowed out and was like, I'm good. I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that because I know Winston really wanted to talk about that. And it was fun to talk a little bit of football because, man, you can smell the grass, Winston. You can smell the grass in the air. We're only days away, weeks away from the NFL coming back. College football as well. So I can't wait. We got to get through August, and it's glory time again. Well, let's wrap it up there. Thank you, Winston A. Again, please let people know where they can find you, brother, as we wrap up, and all the stuff you got going on.
At the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be live, and I'll also be doing a Blurs in the Hood, Capes and Cows on Friday, back here on Tuesday.
Boom, boom. Yeah, and please subscribe down below for me. You can follow me at The Rocha Says, but really it's subscribing down below. We're close to 40,000 subscribers. Get us across that line. Leave your comments down below. And remember, you can also listen to us on the Outlaw Nation podcast feed. For now, it's going to be called the John Rocha Channel podcast feed very soon, but it is there. You can listen to us in case you miss anything here. We'd appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. We're back, baby. Spill the tequila, and we'll see you next Tuesday for another live episode. Take care. Peace.